Welcome to Amanda Holges' Kent Business Mastermind vlog. This vlog is a mixture of what I've been up to, my own thoughts, business tips, productivity hacks, and a smattering of encouragement and inspiration. Enjoy. It's been a week of firsts and lasts. I've been dealing with some HR issues for my clients, particularly around contract terms. A first for me was a firm up on the terms for a living contract. That's the accommodation when it's supplied as part of a role. The previous contract worked fine, but it wasn't until problems were found that we needed to find some more defined terms in there. Some research and new terms were added to save future issues with notice periods and the accommodation termination. Have you looked at your employment contracts recently? Have any regulations changed? Perhaps you now apply with the auto-enrolment and that needs including in a pension section. Or your company shutdown has changed. It's worth a brief look now to save future problems. Last Wednesday was Mum's last Falls class. Following a fall last year, Mum's been attending them for the last 13 weeks and I go along to help her and to encourage as well. In fact, until recently, it's about the only exercise that I was regularly doing. As it was the last one, we just had a quiz on what had been discussed on the talks throughout the sessions, or just a cuppa and biscuits. It ended with some interesting discussions on guidelines for things like fruits and veg and the amounts of water that you need to drink in a day. Having a trained nutritionist as a friend, these things certainly tend to rub off, and so the ideas that I was coming up with and what the national guidelines were a little different. But I think it ended up with everyone having a little bit more education in it. As part of the Metis Women group, we had our fast track Mastermind last Thursday, and I love seeing how these business owners are progressing in their businesses through their 30-day action plans and support from the group. One area that was discussed was to do with promotional films, and what to do with it once it's been shot and initially promoted. Ways of keeping it fresh with things like snippets from the film, quotes, perhaps the story that's behind the filming, or feedback from those that have viewed the film and what they thought about it. These can all help keep it at top of mind for other people other than just running the full film itself. We also talked about Tim Ferriss's talk on fear setting, and it was suggested as a good watch to help overcome those moments when you're facing something difficult too. On Friday morning I had a very early start with BNI networking meeting. BNI Canterbury was celebrating 20 years with the Visitors' Day, and I must admit the early mornings have been a major issue for me when considering BNI, even though I've been an avid networker for over the last 6 years. So it was a first for me to get up that early for networking. I must admit the 4:15 alarm was worth it. The structure was good, and to see the relationship and support of the group was impressive, especially the amount of referrals that were exchanged within them. It's certainly one that I'm going to be trying again in the near future. This weekend was also my son's last day of revising for his final A-levels on Monday, so by now he has finished all his exams with just his books to hand him back to school. It's the end of an era for all of us as he now looks at what is to come, and gladly the last time that I have to keep him on track with revision. Now the wait is there to see if the university will be the next one when the results come through in August. With that in mind, this week's blog was about personal development and continued learning. How much more we learn after full-time education in the development of ourselves and our businesses. It links to some good apps to use to help you and learning suggestions on some TED Talks, books and online courses. To read the Kent Mastermind blog, head to amandaholges.co.uk/blog18. Following my change of morning routine to include 15 minutes of exercise, which has been going well, I've clocked up a full month on Sunday. I've also now added in 10 minutes of mindfulness before it and see how that works. Although I've been trying to do it for a couple of months, I never seem to be able to get that regularly into my routine. So, by adding it into a routine I was already doing, even though it had only been a month, it seemed easier to keep it on track. I just use it for checking in with myself at the moment and getting some mindful time, and it's certainly helping. I'll talk about this a bit more in a later session. So lots of firsts and lasts over the last 7 days, and perhaps some reflections on what is next to come. next week as we head into July, so a whole new month to start with, and a summer feel, I think. Until then, please comment below on ways that you keep your routines on track and changes that you see coming over the next few months. As a reminder, this week's Kent Business Mastermind blog is at amandaholges.co.uk/blog 18. And if you're interested in productivity and your business growth, there are some key resources on my website, and that's at amandaholges.co.uk/resources. Don't forget, you can connect with me on Facebook and on Twitter. I look forward to speaking to you soon.